city of Santa Cruz has had a very strong commitment towards working on recycling issues and dealing generally with reducing the impact on our landfill over time. When I was first elected in 1979, we were told that the landfill had 17 years left on it. That was 25 years ago. And the kinds of things we've done in that period since then have really made a difference, so that right now we are predicting that the landfill has about 35 years left in it. So we've actually done a lot to divert waste out of our landfill.
And on the average, we get about 200 tons a day. So, I mean, we could really extend the cells if, you know, everyone does their part on the recycling. We have, I say about 40 years of life here.
The landfill in Santa Cruz is about 3 miles north of the city, and we save a lot of money by not having to sort of ship our waste to a transfer site and then through trucks to someplace out in the Central Valley, or the kinds of things that many coastal cities do. So we want to do what we can to preserve our landfill. And a big part of that process has to do with the issue of recycling. And so the city of Santa Cruz has had a long-term commitment to dealing with recycling issues. We've spent a long time actually building a recycling program at the landfill. About 80% of the people in the city of Santa Cruz now recycle because of our curbside program.
I know in the last couple of years they've gotten really aggressive with recycling. So I know compared to a couple of years ago, it's doubled. And our garbage has actually gone down because of the recycling. So we have the equipment and the manpower to recycle. So yes, everyone here does their part. That's the public drop-off, and yeah, I would have to say 80% of the material that's dropped off there is recycled.
Why is the recycling symbol on the bottom of polystyrene? That is an excellent question. The plastic industry has a resin identification code, and the resin identification code for polystyrene is a number 6. So what happened is the plastics industry started using the recycling symbol as a graphics around the number of the plastic. So you have plastics 1 through 7, 7 being other, 6 being polystyrene.
Yeah, you know, it's actually quite misleading that there's an awful lot of plastic materials that actually have the little recycling symbol on them, and they have different numbers. Styrofoam, for example, which has one of these kind of recycling little symbols on it in the bottom of a cup, is never going to be recyclable. It's not a recyclable material. It's going to last for 10,000 years, and wherever you put it, it's going to be there forever. So I think it's kind of misleading, and I think it's something the industry does quite consciously.
If you do see a recycling code on the bottom of a container, it's the number you should look at. Because even though there are chasing arrows around that, it does not mean that that item is recyclable. Polystyrene is basically not recyclable.
The big problem is it doesn't break down. Even when it breaks down into really tiny little particles that get in our natural environment and are ingested by animals and ingested into the system, and it never breaks down, so it causes a lot of damage by it starting to cycle through our natural system.
We now think that there's about 20,000 pieces of plastic per every square mile in the ocean. And what this does to our marine environment is really disastrous. What happens is polystyrene breaks up. It doesn't biodegrade. So it breaks up into smaller and smaller pieces the more it's out in our environment. What happens is birds, fish, and marine mammals ingest this material, and it gets stuck in their intestines. They feel full, or they don't feel like eating, and so they die of starvation.
Basically, we're reaching the point where the cost to global warming and other impacts are so great that we're willing to try and make the decision that we're going to actually require people not to use styrofoam. And there now are alternatives available that work just as effectively as styrofoam and don't cost a lot more. And so we're basically going to move towards a mandatory program that basically stops people using those sorts of materials in our city.
These are actually both sugarcane-based material. There's also knives, forks, and spoons. These are made out of 80% potato starch and 20% vegetable oil, and they're fully biodegradable. Here you have a lasting litter problem, something that kills animals. Here you've got something that's paper. It's made out of sugarcane, and so just like a stick or a twig or a leaf, you know, this is going to break down in the environment.
Polystyrene and plastics are the waste that when we do beach cleanups, that by far is the most amount of waste that we collect.
One of the amazing things about polystyrene is 25 billion polystyrene cups are used a year. Just think about that. When you see pictures of rivers, like in Los Angeles River Basin, you'll see a lot of polystyrene floating out to sea. It happens here too. It happens everywhere.
We have a lot of people here who are connected to the ocean. They surf, they fish, whatever. They spend time out in the ocean. And one person, actually this was a council member, testified that he goes out on his boat and there's this beautiful line when you look out in the ocean that it kind of shimmers, and it's a difference in color and texture of the water. And when you get out to it, and the ocean's kind of sparkling and really incredible. You put your hand in and look, and it's full of styrofoam particles of all different colors. And that's what that line is. It's just in the way the currents work, it collects the styrofoam and it washes down the coast.
I surf sometimes, and so you do see bits of styrofoam in the water, and also because it's non-biodegradable. Obviously, yeah, it doesn't really go anywhere, and it's sort of, it off-gases. I'm not sure what the chemical is, but yeah, I know it is noxious to the environment, but I do try and steer clear of styrofoams whenever I can.
The City of Santa Cruz has had an educational program for some time now, trying to teach local businesses how they can deal with issues of styrofoam and other non-biodegradable kinds of products. We're right now in the process of actually working out a mandatory program that probably within a year it's going to be illegal to use styrofoam or for people to sell styrofoam in the City of Santa Cruz.
And we feel like if we have a regional ban on polystyrene, then the playing field will be equal for all restaurants and other businesses that carry polystyrene. We've been doing outreach to all of the restaurants and businesses that use polystyrene, asking them to make the switch. And last month we got a call from a gentleman, Rafiq Abilian, and he was very excited, and he is the owner of the Cold Stone Creamery in downtown Santa Cruz. And he said that the corporate decision was to stop using polystyrene. So I asked him, I said, now that's just great. Is that for just your store? And he said, no, actually, that's a corporate decision. And 1,900, that's 1,900 Cold Stone Creameries across the United States have switched from polystyrene to paper products. And we're very excited because we ran a number, and just the very small container alone, there's 6.5 million of those per year are used. So that means that there's millions of polystyrene containers that won't be used. So Cold Stone Creamery gets a big A+ from the City of Santa Cruz for switching from polystyrene to paper products.
Christine, actually I met her a couple of weeks ago. She was here with the mayor, Riley, and they were very happy, and we're counting days until we can get rid of these monsters. This is going to change Santa Cruz business, but it's going nationwide. All states, from Caribbean to Hawaii, all the Cold Stones are converting to the new paper bowls. And that is a huge, huge win for the environment.
In the City of Santa Cruz, we've reduced our waste about 50% from what it was before, but we'd like to reach the point eventually where we get close to zero waste in the community. And so I actually, again, it's part of public education, but when I go to the store and I get something that comes in a package inside of a package, I always take the outside package off and leave it on the counter, sending a very strong message that I don't want my stuff in that kind of packaging.
To help reduce waste, I'd like to see us recycle more.
Our apartment building goes to the trash, so we have to recycle or else you get fined. So we're all about recycling.
use things over and over, share your clothes, exchange clothes with people, go to reuse events. So there's a lot that people can do about the environment, a lot that students can do and residents as well.